evening.
Okay, my name is Renee. Like what Caroline has introduced me, I work in a bank. And tonight, as I was asking myself what I need to present about myself, so I thought about it and I was thinking, it's best to share something where maybe y'all can also learn from my own experience. So I'll be sharing a little bit about a short span of time that I have in my career. And as she mentioned, I'm in the banking industry for some years. Let me not elaborate for how long, but what happened is actually when I actually joined, or rather before I joined this bank A, I went through an interview. So the interviewer asked me, how well have you done in the past in your previous bank B job? So I say, okay, I'm normal. And I was being very honest because in my opinion, I am normal. I was doing sales then. I was normal in the sense that I have been surviving the sales environment for about a 5-year period. It is actually not that easy to survive a 5-year period in sales. But I guess to me, I'm not the top, so I told them that I'm normal. And because of what I say, after the interview, I don't hear anything about a week later. So before that week has passed, I asked my friend who introduced me to that job, and I asked her, oh, do you know how's the status of my interview? And she told me that, oh, one of the interviewers says that you are very honest and he likes you very much. Oh. Another interviewer says that, no, I don't think she's good enough for this role. But because there's 2 interviewers, fortunately the guy liked me but not the girl. So the guy says that, okay, well, if you're not good enough for the role, maybe we can put you on a so-called assistant role. So then they offered me a job and I took it on. And it's only after I entered into the job that I realized that they offered me this job because they feel that I'm not good enough for the job that I applied for. So then that got me thinking, well, actually been 5 years in the previous bank, I wasn't actually that bad. I do qualify for incentive trip. I was the top 20%, but just not the top. Then it came to my acknowledgement that what exactly is important in sales. So in sales, it is important not to be the top 20%, but to be the number 1. So then I suddenly realized that for me, in an assistant job, usually they only recognize the top, but in the original job that I'm going for, they usually recognize the top 10. So for me, in order for me to shine, I need to be the number 1, but not the number 2. So I clearly told myself that I need to be number 1. And of course, just by telling yourself to be number 1, you need to be very focused. You need to know what to do. So besides putting in the hours, also I do analyze about what I need to do in order to be number 1. So I observe what the number 1 is doing. And I observe what the number 1 is producing. And I told myself, if number 1 is producing this, I must beat the number 1. And it's something that's pretty interesting because when I tell myself that I want to beat number 1, I get really focused into it. Besides the number of hours that I put in, I'm just totally immersed into my own environment. But of course, what happened to me was I really become number 1 in a short span of 6 months. I was recognized, and they wanted to put me to the role that I applied for. And I say that, and I wanted to go, but my boss stopped me because I was number 1. He doesn't want to let me go. Yes. So after 6 months, he says that, okay, in order for you to continue to stay on this job, I'll promote you. So 6 months later, I become number 1 again, and I was promoted. And another 6 months, I become number 1, and I was promoted. So, but what do you think is the key thing that actually made me attain my number one when I tell myself I want to be number one. The key thing is actually for me is when somebody told me that I'm not good enough, that pushed me to number one.